morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I can't believe it's May. I know I've been a while for a little bit. I'm sorry. I've been traveling for work, having meetings. So I've been very, very busy. I come to you with some good news, some minor news, some big news. Let's do this. First of all, the processing times for everything across the border, pretty much except for 601 waivers, are improving. We have gotten recently, today, I got a removal of conditions application that was approved in 2.5 months. We've had some 212 waivers that were approved pretty fast. The people who are waiting for the 601A waivers, those backlogs remain backlogged to 2018, 2019. So there's no improvement on that. The biggest news that have come out of USCIS in terms of processing time have to do with work authorizations. To begin with, USCIS has released a statement stating that due to the fact that there were layoffs, furloughs under the Trump administration, and they were not hiring any new people, the work authorization processing times got backlogged. And then, of course, the pandemic happened that really didn't help the things. And the processing of certain EADs went to 9, 10, sometimes 11 months. So they have come out and they said, we are really working hard on streamlining the backlog and trying to get some things out as soon as possible. They have released a very optimistic processing times list that they are working towards. All of that information is available on our website, and we have posted all over our social media. You can look at that for details. But basically, they're trying to go back to what it used to be, let's say, under the Obama administration, when you're able to get your work authorization under 90 days, and certain time frames were 30 days, which is realistically what it should be, right? Because if your application is taking 10 months and your work authorization is taking 9, arguably you don't really need it anymore, because a month later you already have your status. But while their goals are ambitious, they do state in their press release that, listen, we understand that it's not going to be overnight and it is going to take time. So what they're doing meanwhile is, as you know, you're supposed to file the renewal of your work authorization 6 months before it expires. And if you listen to me regularly, you would know that, because I have said that close to 1,000 times. Let's say you have a work authorization under your marriage green card case, and it expires in 6 months. You will file it within that 6 months, and you will get a green sheet of paper that is going to extend your work authorization. So you can take the expired work authorization and the extension for the new work authorization and continue to work with those. You're eligible still for employment. Nowadays, up until this press release, up until yesterday, the extensions were for 180 days, which means if you file 6 months before plus a 6 months extension, you get almost another year to work on the work authorization. Unfortunately, obviously, life is busy and it's unpredictable, and most people do not exactly file the renewal of their work authorizations exactly on the date of 6 months before it expires. So some people file closer to the date of the expiration. They're busy, they need fees, they're this and that, they're sick, whatever the case may be. So we have had a lot of people who have ended up in situations where the work permit expired, the extension expired, and it still took them a few months to get the new work authorization. And of course, depending on your employer and how strict the employer is, you might have been, asked not to return to work without the work authorization. And people were freaking out. Understandably, it's a long processing time. What USCIS has done is they have pushed the extension to over 500 days. There's no way that they're going to take that long to process your work authorization. So what does that mean? The most popular categories that fall within that extension are the work permits that you get while your marriage case is pending, or if you're a parent of a US citizen and you're adjusting, then those people who get those work permits under the C9 category, that extension applies to them. People in asylum who are seeking asylum, C8, those are the two most popular categories that it applies to. So again, if you have a pending asylum application, you have to still submit your work renewal application 6 months before it expires. But now your extension is going to give you an extra like year and a half to work and continue to exist while they're working on processing your work permit. And they went way above, meaning it doesn't really take them a year and a half to process your work permit. It usually right now takes about 8, 9, 10 months. The processing times have been improving, right? But they kind of did it as a catch-all provision to make sure that if there's another issue with COVID or there's another issue with supply and demand chain, that the people have a sufficient ability to continue to exist in the United States. Okay, so this is the biggest news. Again, we sent out an email detailing all of this. It is all posted all over our social media, and you can always send us a question about that. And we can answer for you. So that's when it comes to work authorization. And I know it's been on a lot of people's mind and it's a pressing thing for a lot of the people. Okay, so I wanted to address it first. The second thing is we are processing paroles for Ukrainian citizens. The Biden administration has announced recently that a U.S. citizen or a U.S. company can now apply to get a parole for for Ukrainian citizen to bring them here along with their qualifying family for a period of up to 2 years. And of course, some of our clients contacted us and are taking advantage of that situation. Now, yes, if you were born in Crimea, you are considered to be a Ukrainian citizen because United States does not acknowledge annexation of Crimea as legitimate. So people who were born in Crimea would qualify. Also, it is also residents of Ukraine. So if you've been living in Ukraine, but you hold the passport of a different country, depending on the circumstances, you may qualify as well. The main applicant can also include their husband and children in it. The US government has promised us that it's going to be a streamlined process, and it requires a form and some documents on the side of the US entity or US citizen, and it requires a form plus documents on the side of the Ukrainian citizen or resident plus his or her qualifying family. Once the people start coming in under the parole, we will see better what's going to happen with them. But when they do get in, the US government will issue them work authorizations. So they will be given a social security and the ability to legally stay, work here, pay taxes, contribute to society, be safe. The long-term plans for these people are not announced because, of course, everybody hopes that the war is going to subside, although the hopes are diminishing as we see the progression of the war in Ukraine. But this is a stopgap measure. I'm sure at the expiration of a 2-year period, there's going to be, depending on what administration is in charge and what the politics are and the situation is. The hope is, of course, that they will either make it akin to something like a TPS, temporary protective status. But historically, I don't think that they would just end the program and kick all the Ukrainians who are going to come into the parole here, unless something drastic changes. I may be wrong, but I don't think for humanitarian reasons the US government with either administration would do something like that. Program is time sensitive. It is not the same thing as a family reunification in that you do not have to be related to the person you're trying to bring here from Ukraine. Also, US companies can sponsor people to bring them in here for this type of a parole. It's a unique type of a program, but let's see how it ends up, how many people we're able to bring in. When the announcement was made, Mr. Biden said, our president said that it is going to be a part of the 100,000 refugees that he has committed to. So I think the program will run its course pretty fast because from what I'm seeing around, the demand is overwhelming. So let's see how the Department of State, in conjunction with USCIS, are handling and processing these applications. But if you're interested in sponsoring somebody to bring them here from Ukraine, under this program, please, you're welcome to contact us. We'll give you a free consultation for that specific issue only. If you have any questions, you can always refer to our website. We have a lot of beautiful, interesting blogs there. And if you want to, you can always reach out to us here, social media, call us, and we will be happy to schedule a consultation with you. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in, and we will see you next Thursday. Have a good day.